Welcome to Prescribing Lifestyle, the podcast that's all about empowering you to live your healthiest, happiest life. I'm your host, Dr. Avi Charlton, and each week we'll dive into the latest research, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you optimize your well-being. From nutrition and fitness to mental health and mindfulness, we'll explore every aspect of lifestyle medicine, giving you the tools you need to make informed decisions and take control of your health. Whether you're looking into preventing disease, managing chronic conditions, or simply elevate your quality of life, Prescribing Lifestyle is here to guide you on your journey to wellness. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on this transformative adventure towards a healthier, happier you. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle. Today, I'm going to talk about why you should stop counting calories. Counting calories does not work. Some of my listeners have fallen into the trap of counting calories, cutting calories to lose weight. Some of them do lose a little bit of weight in the short term, but sometimes it's hard to sustain and they actually put on more weight when they eat normal. So today I'm going to talk about why calorie counting does not work and why you should stop counting calories. Just to share a bit of a story, I was amazed. I saw a teenage girl. She's about 18 or 19, and she knew all the calories off by heart. She knew how many calories in one piece of bread, and she knew how many calories in one banana. And I was so surprised, and I was actually quite sad that she is counting calories to such extreme. And this can actually lead to mental health problems like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and it really affects mental health. So we sat down and we talked about all the other things about nutrient, about how we should think about food as nutrients rather than number in the calories. And she learned a lot. Hopefully she doesn't count calories anymore and she focused on eating nutritious food and concentrate on what food is to fuel our body rather than what it is in a number of calories. So that's just a bit of a background story on why I'm passionate about not counting calories. Another reason is why we shouldn't be counting calories is our body is not a scale. It's not an in and out system. It's not a machine. We are not calorimeters. That not a combustion meter. That's how we measure calories. It's put in a combustion box and then count how many calories is burnt. Our body is not like that. It's so much more complicated than that. So we really should stop counting calories because it doesn't work. I'm going to give you a few reasons. Counting calories doesn't take into account the nutrition quality of food. Calorie counting emphasizes on quantity over the quality, doesn't tell us what food is nutritious and what food isn't nutritious. I actually just looked up a can of Coke is 139 calories. And then I asked Google 139 calories, how many grams of salmon? It's actually 100 grams of salmon. So if you eat 100 grams of salmon and you drink a can of Coke, is that equal? I would really suggest that is not equal because the can of Coke would not give you nutrition. It would be highly inflammatory and sure, it can give you a bit of energy boost, but it doesn't satiate you. It's sugar. It's not protein. There's no nutrients in it. So how can you compare a can of Coke with 100 grams of salmon? So if you don't eat that 100 grams of salmon and you just drink that can of Coke, does it mean that you will lose weight? Let's say you just drink Coke and you stop eating all the salmon. Does it equivalent that you have cut down all the calories? So it just doesn't take into account what's protein, what's healthy fat, and what's carbohydrates, what's sugar, and what's junk food. Because if you have 130 calorie of chips, and you can't compare that to 100 gram of salmon, it's just ridiculous. So I think the Coke companies or the soft drink companies want to tell you that if you exercise, then that burns off that 130 calories. So you're allowed to drink the Coke. That's how they advertise it, because then you are burning off the calories. Then you can drink the calories. And the other thing is calorie counting is not accurate. It doesn't take into account of our body and our digestion, our acid, food preparation, and how um, complicated our bodily system is. There's so much bacteria in the gut. There's bacteria, there's fungus, there's so many bugs. I actually told my son, who's 15, last night while we were driving home, that there are more bacteria and viruses, more bugs in our body than that we have cells. So there's more of them than you. There's more gut bacteria than we have the number of cells in our body. So all these bacteria digest our food as well. The calorie in, calorie out doesn't take into account how much our bacteria that is in our body digest the food. How does the scale work when the bacteria digest our food as well as us digest our food? Another point is calorie in, calorie out doesn't take into account of satiety. It doesn't work out that eating 100 grams of salmon makes us satiated. We're full after the salmon and we're not hungry anymore. It helps us regulate our hunger. And then if you drink a can of Coke, which is the same calorie, 130 calorie, you're not full at all. You still want food. So having good satiating food like protein and healthy fat really help us with feeling full and less hunger. And that is so different from the same calorie food or drinks. It also doesn't take into account our metabolic differences. So what happens is if you cut down calories, our metabolic rate actually goes down. So if you go from 1,000 calorie a day to 800 calorie a day, our body actually switches down our metabolic rate to make it go down. And then so we don't use up as much we're not burning as much energy. So how does that work in burning fat? So we really shouldn't be, so we need to understand there's metabolic differences, and calorie counting doesn't take into account our metabolic rate. Calorie counting is also not sustainable. It becomes tedious and it's unsustainable. It becomes obsessive, then it affects mental health. It can actually make you have mental health disorders like OCD, especially if you cut down calories so much that it affects the nutrition going into your brain. Then you can have more chances of affecting mental health. If you want to look up the Minnesota starvation experiment done by Ansel Keys, you can look it up. He took a group of young men and starved them. These men definitely lost weight because they only ate rice and maybe bread, but not much nutritious food. These men become obsessed about food. They become depressed and they just want to look at cookbooks. And when they eat normally, their metabolic rate still didn't go back to normal. They couldn't heal. And which reflects that if you go yo-yo dieting non-stop, which happens to a lot of people because they've been told to cut down calories and they go on light and easy, or they starve themselves, or they just eat one meal a day, their metabolic rate actually doesn't go back to normal. and they actually put on more weight when they eat normal. So their weight goes up and down. Another reason why calorie in, calorie out, calorie counting doesn't work is it's not paying attention to hormones, especially insulin. So insulin is the hormone that's responsible to put the glucose away to make it become fat. Your body produces insulin when sugar comes in. So when you have a glucose spike, let's say you eat some sugar or you eat a bit of bread or cereal, then insulin comes in and puts it away and lets your body store it as fat. May I remind you that your body can only hold 1 teaspoon of glucose, which is 4 grams. Anything over 4 grams of glucose in a meal, insulin comes in and store it as fat because your bloodstream can only hold 4 grams of glucose, which is 1 teaspoon of glucose. The carbohydrates all become glucose. Your body can only hold 1 teaspoon at a time. So insulin comes in and store it as fat. So if you eat a bit of salmon again, which is protein and healthy fat, your body will not make as much insulin. Whereas if you drink a can of Coke, which is exactly the same calorie as 100 grams of salmon, your body will have a big insulin spike, and then all those glucose will be become stored to become fat especially in your belly. And it causes inflammation as well. Calorie in, calorie out also doesn't take into account stress and mental health. We all know that stress can make more glucose, and having stress hormone around like cortisol will make more glucose come into the bloodstream. It's like rushing around, anxiety, modern lifestyle, lots of things going on, mums doing pickups, drop-offs, stressful events at work. All these things can have a negative effect on weight loss. And calorie in, calorie out doesn't take into account about stress that impacts our health. So I suggest that we take a holistic approach, work on optimizing our lifestyle, eat nutritious food, eat good calories, good nutritious food, and don't count calories. Work on other lifestyle things like improving our stress, managing sleep, regular exercise, physical activity, and incorporating all those, shifting our focus from calorie counting to mindful eating, prioritizing nutrient-rich food, listening to our hunger and satiety cues. All those can lead to more successful and sustainable weight management. So I hope this helps you understand why calorie in, calorie out model doesn't work, and we should all stop counting calories. Of course, if you eat too much food in terms of protein and healthy fat, even if you eat too much good foods, you might still put on weight, but we should understand that calorie in, calorie out is not the right model to understand weight management. I hope this is helpful. Stay tuned for another episode. Until next time, thank you for paying attention. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle podcast. Before we wrap up, I have an exciting news to share. I have a new ebook called Low Carb Made Easy. It's now available. This guide is perfect for anyone looking to dive into the low carb lifestyle. Inside, you'll find the basic theory behind low carb eating, a detailed food list, practical meal plan, and a variety of delicious recipes. It's designed to make a journey to better health easier, simpler, and enjoyable. For those who prefer a hard copy, head over to my website and register your interest using the link provided. My website is www.mlcclinic.com.au. Head to online store. Remember, the information shared in this podcast, it's for educational purposes only and not proper medical advice. Always consult your medical professional before making any changes. to your lifestyle and diet, or you can come and see me in Melbourne Low Carb Clinic. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with us on social media. Your feedback will help us improve and reach more listeners. Lastly, if you found this episode helpful, please share it with your friends and family. Together, we can make a positive impact to our health and our communities. Thanks again for listening, and as always, stay healthy and happy. Until next time.